Welcome into Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast, presented by BetMGM. Brendan Glasheen, joined by BJ Cunningham and Tanner McGrath for Tuesday, May 21st. Best Bets. You can hear Best Bets episodes every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday mornings during the baseball regular season. So subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, and you can also find the video version on the Action Network YouTube page. We have another 5-star rating and review winner. Yes, we're incentivizing people to leave 5-star ratings and reviews because we're in a giving mood. It's a longer username. It is Zach, C-H, not a K, Z-A-C-H, 123456789. That is the username. Zach, C-H, 123456789. I feel like I'm doing a mic check. Zach, you're a winner. And your numbers too. Email podcast at actionnetwork.com to claim your prize. We'll be giving out winners as we keep getting these 5-star ratings and reviews. If you haven't done so, please do. We're doing giveaways. You get the option of a Action Pro account subscription for 1 year, or you get some Action Network swag. So that's the deal there. We are recording on Monday evening at 8:30 Eastern, so games are taking place. 12 games in baseball tonight, so that factors into the guys' handicapping as it pertains to bullpen usage and all that jazz. That matters. So we're getting ready for a 15-game slate on Tuesday, the 21st. We always start with best bets. That's what we'll do. BJ, what do you got for us Tuesday, May 21st? Best bet.
Brendan, I'm going to go with the Giants and the Pirates over 8 runs at minus 110. Logan Webb will be on the mound for San Francisco, and it's been an interesting season for him so far. He does have an ERA around 3, but his expected ERA is up at 4.85, which would be the highest of his career. And what it comes down to for him is that, he's mainly a sinker and a changeup pitcher. He's somebody that lives down in the zone, tries to generate a high number of ground balls, and he has done that this season, 58% ground ball rate. But when his changeup and his sinker are getting hit, they're getting hit incredibly hard. He's allowing a 50% hard hit rate, which is near the bottom of the league in terms of qualified pitchers. And specifically, his changeup is allowing a 403 expected weighted on base average on contact. So that is telling me that even though he's remained to have good stuff with his changeup, that the location of it has been a little more hittable. And if you look at the percentages of how often he's throwing it comparatively to his sinker, they're both now around 33%, whereas last season he was throwing his changeup about 42% and then his sinker a lot less. Both of those pitches are allowing over a 350 expected weighted on base average. So he's a negative regression candidate. The location has been a little off. Even his sinker doesn't really have good in terms of a stuff plus rating. It's got a decent amount of horizontal movement, but like literally no drop on it. It's very flat. So when he's leaving it up in the zone, it's getting hit a lot easier. The flip side, though, is Martin Perez will be on the mound for the Pirates, and he's been bad this year, for lack of a better term. He's old. His stuff is terrible now. He's got a stuff plus rating of 71, which is incredibly low. He mainly throws a sinker and a cutter, and he's barely averaging 91 miles per hour on his sinker and about 89 miles per hour on his cutter. The Giants this season against left-handed sinkers and cutters that are below 92 miles per hour have a 382 expected weight on base average, which is the 6th best mark in baseball. And they've seen the most of those of anybody in baseball of those type of pitches. Additionally, the Pirates have the 4th worst defensive rating. Their bullpen is in the bottom 10 in terms of xFIP. So, and they're going to be playing in a hitter-friendly park on a hot day. And as the weather gets hotter here, the balls will travel further and you'll see more runs. It's going to be about 85 degrees in Pittsburgh on Tuesday night. So, projected 9.1 runs for this game, so I like over 8 at
it's also worth mentioning that I don't know if you said this, but Webb has severe home road splits.
Yes.
Even just this season, 1 ERA at home, 6 ERA on the road, career 2.6 ERA at home, 4.2 on the road. Even his xFIP's a half run higher. I'm a little worried about the Giants lineup, which is kind of devastated by injuries, but yeah, no, I love the handicap overall.
I think there's some 7.5s out there as we record on Monday night. So,
yep. Playing in Oracle, one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in baseball is always a benefit for Webb. So
He's a cheat code at home, but he's more of like an average pitcher on the road. It's like his like more general profile comes out when he's not in that pitcher park.
Okay, so a total over Giants Pirates for BJ. Tanner, what say you? Best bet for Tuesday, the 21st.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Brew Crew. First 5 innings money line, probably minus 145 or better. I think I got a minus 135 tonight, Monday, May 20th. I love this team. I'm just going to keep betting on them. I think the Brewers are really, really good. For this specific game, for starters, we have a southpaw versus southpaw pitching matchup. Over the last 2 weeks and against left-handed pitching, the Brewers have the second highest WRC plus, 150. The Fish, the Marlins, their opponent today, have posted the 7th lowest WRC plus. That's 64. During this 2-week stretch, the Brewers have a 31% fly ball rate and a 14% barrel rate against the side. Adds up to like a ridiculous 353 expected weight on base average. William Contreras, such a stud. Last 2 weeks is slashing 350, 430, 590 for a 186 WRC plus, including a 12% walk rate to only a 19% strikeout rate. Talking about those starting pitchers, the two lefties, Milwaukee's Robert Gasser, pretty interesting young arm, a guy who came over in the Josh Hader trade. Really deep 5-pitch arsenal headlined by a sweeper with a 122 stuff plus rating. He struck out 8 in his debut against the Cardinals. He's allowed only 1 earned run across his first 11 Major League Baseball innings. The key for him is just command and location. Really struggled with walks in the minors, but he's walked only 1 batter across these 2 starts, and his location plus mark checked in around 98, league average. So I think that's good enough for me, especially against the hapless Miami Marlin lineup. On the other side, Miami, they're starting Trevor Rogers, who has lost a tick of velocity on his fastball, which he throws about a third of the time, which has caused a 29-point year-over-year decrease in his fastball stuff plus rating and a decent-sized decrease in his swinging strike rate. And that's caused him to severely moderate the use of that fastball and lean into more secondary stuff, where he's trying to kind of nibble around the edges. And while he has forced a few more chases than before, what it's ultimately led to is a significantly decreased strikeout rate and a significantly increased walk rate. So after 4 years with a strikeout minus walk rate around 16%, he's sitting at 9% this year. And he's getting hit hard in the zone anyways. A 46% hard hit rate, that's 12th percentile among qualified pitchers. So you add it all together and you get a 5.8 ERA, 5.1 expected ERA. He pitched well against the Tigers the last time out, but the Brewers are a different beast. And I will say, I think the Miami bullpen is trending upward. I think that's a really undervalued unit. So I'm just going to stick to isolating that Gasser versus Rogers lefty on lefty matchup and take the Crew in the first 5 for Tuesday.
Brendan, I have a stat for you.
What is it?
This is from Mike Petrello on Twitter. William Contreras, 171 weighted runs created plus, 388 expected weighted on base average. Wilson Contreras of the Cardinals, 171 weighted runs created plus, 388 expected weighted on base average.
I didn't realize that the Cardinal Contreras was even hitting that well. I didn't think anyone on that team was hitting well.
Yeah.
No kidding.
How hilarious is that?
Let's find out if we're going to fade the public on Tuesday. Money's piling in on the kind of hot, getting hot Houston Astros. They've won 8 of 10. Astros are making noise. I'm not sure what the score of their game is right now as we speak. They're just underway, I believe. It's 1-0 Angels, bottom second as we record on Monday night. But the Astros, they're playing better, just a few games back, under 500. They are very much still, they're 4 out in the West. Money's piling in on the Astros. Tomorrow, they're at home. Christian Javier on the mound, facing Griffin Canning of the Angels. Houston money line minus 200, totals at 8.5. Alrighty, BJ, any interest, any angle to possibly play the Angels, or is there something you can use to go around the idea of backing Houston?
I am showing a little bit of value on the Angels. Not particularly a fan of Griffin Canning, to be honest. 5 expected ERA doesn't really have any metrics that would, get you excited to bet on them. But Christian Javier, he's continuing to have problems with control. His walk rate is over 4 this season. His expected ERA is only sitting around 4. And I think an underrated part of the Angels right now is they're just hitting the ball pretty well. Against right-handed pitching, they're around league average. Over the last 30 days, they're top 10 in weighted runs created plus. They just on Sunday they pulled off a nice win against the Rangers in late innings. So this is the hard part of betting, as you just heard me sigh, is that I really don't want to take Griffin Canning, but my numbers are telling me to do that. We'll see how the bullpens get used here for the Angels tonight. They did have used a couple other top arms on Sunday. So if they have a lead and they have to use those again, and the bullpen's going to be worked up, I'll probably end up passing on it. But if we get a fresh bullpen, stay tuned to the Action Network app, and I may back the Angels here.
Tanner, what do you say about Griffin Canning?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with this game is just that Javier's location plus rating is down 6 points year over year. It's now at 92. He has lost velocity. He's just not a good pitcher right now. But I do want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more about the Astros at large, and also plug an article that I wrote today. I'm reviving our MLB Bettors Notebook every 2 weeks or so. I'm just going to talk about random gambling related trends, thoughts, observations, stuff to help you grind through the daily grind of betting a 162 game season. The Astros, look, the problem with them was pitching, right? I mean, they still by WAR have the worst pitching staff in the league. Everyone was hurt. But they're finally starting to get healthy. And the big thing is the bullpen has been pitching much better over the last few weeks. They were always due for positive regression, but it's finally coming around. And now that they've won 8 of 10, part of that is also because they were just getting super unlucky with close game variance. I mean, they lost 9 of their first 10 one-run games. They lost 4 of their first 5 extra inning games. And now all of a sudden they won 3 straight one-run games and 2 straight extra inning games during this 8 of 10 stretch. And, they've surged up the playoff odds boards. Their playoff odds have jumped 25% in the past week. And part of that is because in the AL West, you have the Mariners leading the division, and they have the worst record and run differential of any division leader right now. So the Stros, after one quick winning streak, are 3.5 games out. And on top of that, Pacoda projects the Astros to win the West 48% of the time. They're the favorite. Fangraphs makes Seattle a slight favorite, like 44% to 40%. But you can still get Houston to win the AL West at upwards of 225, plus 225, which is only 31% implied. If the Astros continue to get healthy, there's a few pitchers who are starting to come back. They've made rehab appearances. JP Francis day to day. They're still mashing the ball. This thing could come together really quick because this lineup is top 5 in everything. Kyle Tucker has turned into a super duper star because he has found something with his plate discipline where he is swinging a lot less, chasing a lot less, and making way more contact. And now all of a sudden his walk rate is up 5 points, and he's added some extra pop because he's making smarter, more aggressive swing decisions. I think the Astros are a play-on team. I think they're a team to buy. If you want to buy a team in the AL West, it's now, and I think you can keep buying the Astros in the next few weeks. I think this is going to be a real hot surge, especially if some more pitchers come back. Even if I don't want to do it today because I don't trust Javier, I think the reason why I won't be on the Angels is just because I think the Astros, this is their moment. They're finally, the positive regression is coming. They've been undervalued for a while, and they're going to surge. I think they're going to win the AL West, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of time, but I know obviously win totals aren't available right now because games are happening, but there was a point where you could get 90-ish or slightly below that. But Astros are starting to cook, man. Starting to figure it out.
And they're going to win more close games. They're going to win more extra inning games. Their Pythag record is still 2 wins above their actual record. This ship is going to take off. It is.
A's through Sunday, or pardon me, Angels through Wednesday. Then they get the A's. They go to Seattle for 4. They get the Twins, but then Cardinals, Angels again, Giants.
That's another thing about the Astros, though. Per Tankathon, they have the easiest remaining strength of schedule of any AL West squad. .480 winning
I love
percentage.
it.
They got 9 more games against the sliding A's. They got 6 more against the hapless White Sox, 13 against the Mike Troutless Halos. This ship's going to take off.
I love the we're doing remaining schedule already. Pacoda's got an 86 and a half
100
wins.
games left.
Yeah, it was Tanner. I just thought it was funny.
I love it. No, I love it too. There's like 110 games left.
Hey, remaining schedule. Look at them go.
It's a 20% difference between them and
I know.
Texas. They have the easiest remaining strength of schedule in MLB of any team. So
No, they had the gauntlet out of the gates, right? They
Yeah.
had to play the Yankees a bunch of times. I'm trying to think of who else they had to play, but it was they had that series against the
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Lost 3 in a row to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Cubs got swept at Wrigley. Cleveland is obviously contending now. Yankees.
They've played 35 games against
Yankees.
winning
Yankees
teams.
3 times, right? Twice.
Yep.
No, twice.
Yeah, they played 35 games against winning teams, which
Wow.
is, I think the only comparable one is the White Sox, who played 38. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, the Phillies have played 6 games against winning teams.
All right, how about let's go to underdogs. Underdogs value BJ that you might be targeting for a full slate tomorrow.
Mariners plus 140 against the Yankees. No matter what happens, the Yankees are leading 3-0 right now against the Mariners. They didn't really use anybody in their bullpen yesterday, so bullpens shouldn't really matter here. Brian Wu is an incredibly good pitcher. So far this season, only 2 starts, a little over a 2 expected ERA. But even if you go back to last season, 18 starts, 3.45 expected ERA. The stuff is incredible. Stuff plus a 110. And utilizing his fastball and his sinker, which are his main 2 pitches, they're both very, very good. And it's not just because they have, especially his sinker has 18 inches of run on it, which is in like the 90th percentile among major league starting pitchers, which makes him incredibly difficult to hit. And then he's got a really good fastball that also has a lot of horizontal movement on it as well. He's incredible against right-handed hitters. He over his career, he's only allowing around a 200 weighted on base average. Now, he's kind of struggled against lefties. If you look at the Yankees lineup, yes, they do have 3 good left-handed hitters, but they maybe can get 5 left-handed hitters in their lineup, like maybe at best. And even the other 2 left-handed hitters that they could get in there aren't really that great. So he should have a good split advantage here against this Yankees lineup. That does hit fastballs and sinkers well, but it should be a decent split advantage for them. And Clark Schmidt's a negative regression candidate. He's got about a 2.5 ERA, 3.7 expected ERA. The stuff is very good. He's about a 112 stuff plus rating, mainly because of his sweeper and his knuckle curve, both really good pitches. But he throws his cutter pretty often. And that is the pitch that the Mariners have had the most success against this season, top 5 in baseball in expected weighted on base average against right-handed cutters. Even if you look at these, the 2 bullpens for this matchup, Seattle is, much better in terms of xFIP, strikeout minus walk rate, and pitching plus. And the Yankees bullpen, although they have around, I think it's a 2.8 ERA, their xFIP is well over 4. Their strikeout minus walk rate is in the bottom 10 of Major League Baseball. So it's a bullpen that is going to regress at some point in the season. So I think it's a decent matchup here for the Mariners. Brian Wu is definitely somebody to buy right now. I'm interested to see what his strikeout total is tomorrow as well. So I like the Mariners at plus 140.
Tanner, underdog for tomorrow.
First, I just want to co-sign the Mariners. Really, I love Brian Wu. And one of the things to really watch about that is that even though his fastball doesn't have overwhelming carry or ride, like it's 95 mile per hour, 13 inches of vertical break, he comes in with the highest vertical approach angle of any fastball in the league. So it's deceptive, and it comes in at like a dizzying approach angle for hitters. So if you throw it at the top of the zone, it's really hard to square up. And, he abused double and triple A pitchers with that pitch. 76 strikeouts in 55 innings. Also, really like the Mariners bullpen. I think they're still trending up. I've talked about it before. 19% strikeout minus walk rate over the past 2 weeks. I think that the Mariners can go pitch for pitch over 9 innings, and they shouldn't be catching plus 140 in that scenario. But my dog of the day for Tuesday is going to be the Cincinnati Reds. on the money line. And the goal for me is to pretty much get the Reds at any plus money number. I got them plus 103. I'm hoping the market doesn't shift their way by the time you listen to this in the morning, but I'd play them close to a pick 'em. The big part of this handicap for me is just the monstrous rest advantage that the Reds have. I mean, the Padres, they just played a 4-game set with Atlanta, played the final 3 games of that set within 24 hours by playing on Sunday Night Baseball and then ripping through a doubleheader on Monday. Now they have to travel overnight from Atlanta to Cincinnati for a 3-game set at Great American. I'm worried about the bats keeping up. I'm worried about the bullpen, which is stretched thin probably. And also, I am really, really high on the Reds bullpen. I don't know if you guys have seen this Fernando Cruz guy, but his splitter might be the best pitch in baseball. I mean, he's throwing it nearly half the time, and hitters just can't hit it. He's thrown 150 of them this season, 53 whiffs. He struck out 36 of 84 batters faced. That's 43%. 31 of them have come on the splitter. And I could tell you all about the stuff and the velo and the drop on the pitch, but I implore our listeners to just go on Twitter and just search Fernando Cruz splitter. Just trust me. He had one against Ketel Marte that made the guy question why he even plays baseball. Regardless, you pair him with Alexis Diaz, Brent Suter, Emilio Bacán, and the Reds are a top 10 bullpen by WAR, strikeout minus walk rate. They have a 28% strikeout rate and a 3.05 Sierra over the past 2 weeks. And most importantly, everyone is rested because Cincinnati had an off day on Monday. It is very hard to trust the Reds offense. And the Padres have been hitting again since they've moved to a more contact-based, pesky approach. Trading for Luis Arraez will do that. And, Joe Musgrove finally pieced together like his first real dominant start of the year last time out against this Cincinnati lineup. I'm just banking that the Reds flip the script now that they're seeing him again for the second time in 5 days. Like the San Diego native, he's lost a full tick on his fastball velo, and he carries an ERA and an expected ERA north of 6. His stuff numbers are great. I'm just not buying him yet. And I do kind of want to buy Andrew Abbott, who goes for the Reds. His stuff numbers aren't great, but he's a fastball changeup guy, and the model doesn't really know how to accurately quantify changeup heavy southpaws. As an aside, for any listeners that don't really understand what Stuff Plus is, it's just a model that attempts to quantify the nastiness of a pitch or an arsenal based on velocity, movement, vertical or horizontal, and with 100 being average. So if you have an 100 Stuff Plus mark on your fastball, you probably have a league average fastball. And regardless, going back to that, Abbott is leveraging his changeup heavy approach into one of MLB's best batted ball profiles. He just forces a ton of weak contact. It might be fly ball contact, but it's all weak. And, the Padres have not performed well against left-handed pitching this year, mainly because they're making too much weak contact against the side. Last 2 weeks and against left-handed pitching, the Padres have posted an 83 WRC plus and a 611 OPS behind a 39% pull rate and a 28% hard contact rate. Both are bottom 5 marks. So I don't know. I think this seems like a decent matchup for Abbott, who faced the Padres last August at home in Great American, pitched 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball with 12 strikeouts, allowed only 1 walk and 4 hits. But, still, this is mostly just a rest play. I think the Padres are going to be really gassed, and I think the Reds can take advantage.
BJ, for your final bet you want to give out for Tuesday's slate, you want to take over Musgrove Abbott, the pitching matchup in this particular game.
Yeah, I like over 9 runs at minus 110. Great American Ballpark is one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in Major League Baseball. It's going to be hot in Cincinnati. Like Tanner said with Musgrove, he had one good start. You typically seeing a team for the second time generally yields better results than the first. That's just kind of how baseball works. But yeah, Musgrove is, like Tanner said, even though the stuff is good, he's just struggling to find control, finding the zone. He's getting hit hard in the zone. Cincinnati hasn't been hitting the ball great as of late. In fact, they're dead last in baseball in weighted runs created plus. But it should be a decent matchup for them. And on the flip side, Andrew Abbott is an interesting case because there was a point last season where he had, I think it was like a 95% strand rate. And this season he's got an 88% strand rate. And he's just somebody that, for whatever reason, will go through stretches of just leaving guys on base at just this incredibly high rate. Maybe it has a lot to do with his soft contact. that he generates. But you saw last season he went closer to league average, around 79%. So there's going to be some regression for him in terms of actually leading the guys on base. And San Diego's been the ball really well lately. They're top 10 weighted on base average over the last 30 days. Again, not a great, like Tanner said, not a great rest spot for them coming off playing that many games. But there's going to be some regression for Abbott in terms of leaving guys on base. So projected 9.8 runs. So I like 9 at -110.
Hey BJ, what do you make the Reds here?
Tanner, I actually made the Reds about actually -109 is what I actually have.
I looked at I don't know if you put much stock into this, but I look at Ballpark Pal's model every once in a while. Reds -160, 10.2 runs.
-160 is a little high. I think that's taking into account a lot of Musgrove's what's actually happened this year comparatively to what he projects out to be over the full season. -160 is a little high.
I think if you're arguing for positive regression Musgrove, not that I'm not, is that his home run to fly ball rate is double what it was last year.
Yeah.
But still his fastball velocity is down. And like you said, he's getting hit hard in the zone. It's just, it's just weird. He's a weird case. And I don't trust the stuff model with him. I mean, a 6.3 expected ERA, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. And stuff and here, this is a good lesson about Stuff Plus in general. It's not the end all be all of just like this guy has good stuff plus, so then he must be good. If you can't locate your stuff and you leave it in the zone, you're going to get hit by major league pitchers. That's just how it works in baseball. So you will see generally, now what I will say is there are a lot of guys who have great stuff plus ratings that have good command and control of their arsenals. That's why they're Major League Baseball pitchers, right? That's why they've actually made it to the majors. You can find hundreds upon hundreds of guys who can throw 95 plus miles per hour, but can't control their arsenal and can't, pitch at the major league level. So Musgrove is just one of those cases right now where.
Yeah, it should just be used in context with everything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, one more, and then we'll get out of here. Tanner, you're going to go to a side for your final bet. We're heading to the AL Central.
Yeah, let's talk about the Motor City Kitties. I'm taking the Tigers on the money line. I will start with this. These are two very comparable lineups. Both have good top-end talent, but severely lack depth. But the Tigers have been red hot. Fourth best WRC plus against right-handed pitching over the past 2 weeks, 128. Royals check in with an 88 mark during that same stretch. Royals starting pitcher Alec Marsh, his 2.4 ERA, I think it looks like smoke and mirrors. Low BABIP, high strand rate, two classic things keeping that mark down. He combines a 90% zone contact rate with a 37% ground ball rate, and his batted ball profile is pedestrian. So hitters are making contact and they are driving the ball, but he's only allowed 3 home runs and a 7% home run to fly ball rate this year for a guy who allowed 16 long balls in 74 innings last year. So I kind of expect those numbers to go up closer to his 4.1 expected ERA and 4 flat expected FIP. On the flip side, the Tigers are going to get Casey Mize, who is probably performing right around where he should be. Mid-threes ERA guy. He's been remarkably consistent outside of like a 5-run performance in the Bronx, which is a very tough place to pitch this year. And, I think I just project Mize as like at least a half run better than I do Marsh. Most projection systems do, Marsh's projected ERA range is 4.8 to 5.2. Mize's is 4.2 to 4.5. Mize's stuff plus mark, his stuff plus rating is 12 points higher. Mize has 3+ pitches, including a really, really good splitter. It's generating a 19% swinging strike rate. His secondary stuff is forcing a lot of ground balls in the early going. His ground ball rate is up to like 52%, which I don't know if that seems sustainable because he's been closer to like a 40 to 45% guy, but I think it's encouraging. I am worried that his fastball velocity and ride was down in his last start, but he has elite extension and excellent location on the pitch. So I think he can keep using deception to make the 4-seam play. And most importantly to this handicap, I'm just trying to fade the Royals bullpen as much as possible, which is starting to fall apart in front of our eyes. I think we always knew that a bullpen dependent on James McArthur and John Schreiber was never going to be overly impressive. And, BJ mentioned this a few weeks ago on the pod. Royals have the worst bullpen in MLB by Stuff Plus. It's a full 5 points below the second worst. So here we are over the past 2 weeks. The Royals have posted a 5.3 reliever ERA and a 4.2 reliever Sierra behind a relatively pathetic 18% strikeout rate and 10% barrel rate. During that same stretch, the Tigers ranked 4th among MLB bullpens at expected FIP, driven by a high ground ball rate, a really high chase rate, like 40%, and a really low walk rate. And we are getting a breakout year from the youngster Joey Wentz, who has allowed only 2 earned runs in 16 appearances with 21 strikeouts. He's a 20% strikeout minus walk rate. And he's throwing a cutter and changeup more often, and I think that's just resulting in more whiffs and way fewer barrels. So, regardless, I'm willing to take Mize in the Tigers bullpen against their counterparts on Tuesday, and I'm willing to bank on the Tigers' continued offensive success. I think that Detroit looks good at anything close to a pick 'em. I just think they should be favored even in Kansas City.
All righty. BJ, do you have anything to say? I feel like you had something to say, maybe.
No, I was going to add on to Tanner's point about the Royals bullpen. It's just like another lesson about Stuff Plus is generally if you have bad stuff, you have to have elite command. And the Royals don't even have that in their bullpen. So it's a lot harder to maintain this level of ERA they did, which was around 3 for a long time. And like you said, Tanner, it's been regressing. And it's just kind of what happens. And so when we bet, we want to bet on regression of certain things. And the Royals bullpen has been something I've been trying to bet against for a while. It's been varied results, but it's something that's going to regress as we go throughout the season.
Yeah, Royals now have a 4.1 ERA, but their expected FIP is still 4.6. And their overall strikeout rate is the second lowest, only ahead of Colorado, because they don't have stuff, because they can't throw stuff past hitters, And so combine that with a 10% walk rate and a mediocre batted ball profile, and you get a bad bullpen.
And all of the Royals pitchers not named Cole Reagans are like overperforming like crazy right now as well.
Cole Hamels Reagans.
Garrett Cole Hamels Reagans.
All right.
What did I say?
All right.
Cole Reagans?
Yeah, it's fine. I was just, you're good. Inside joke.
I don't even know what I said. Hang on.
You did. I added the Hamels in there because,
Oh, okay. I thought I got the name wrong.
You said it right. I'm just adding the Tanner's love for Cole Reagans. That's all.
Everyone should go look up Pitching Ninja. Tweeted out Reagans versus Hamels mechanics, and it looks exactly the same.
Very
beautiful.
Very similar. All right, that's it. Best bets return. Payoff pitch returns on Friday as we get you set for the holiday weekend. So first thing Friday morning for your next Payoff pitch episode. For Tanner McGrath, BJ Cunningham, Brendan Glasheen, check it out. Please, 5-star ratings and reviews. We're still doing giveaways. Also, check out the Action Network Discord channel. Link to the channel available in the episode description, video and audio. Best bets return Friday here on Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast, presented by BetMGM. See you later this week.